Good evening or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is Bridgetti and Stephen in conversation, and hopefully we are live on Facebook. Hello, Bridgetti.
Good evening, Stephen. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast from me in Cape Town, South Africa.
And welcome to the broadcast from me in Wiltshire in England. So we're joining England and South Africa today. If you want to join us, then just say, I'm going to copy the link in a moment. But first of all, what we'd like to say as I go to my pre-saved agenda is welcome to the show. Good, that worked. I had problems with the agenda earlier. I have this ability to actually lock it so the same lower third is showing all the way through the program. Well,
right.
Let's explain. I'll take that off the screen whilst I explain. Every Friday at 2 p.m. UK, 9 a.m. Eastern, Angelica and I do the German language show. And every week there's a topic, and every week Angelica gives me 10 to 15 phrases. And she gives me the German and the English. Yeah. Now I've got to sort of, I pronounce the German best I can, and then I get corrected. And then I translate. I don't look at the translation below. I translate it into English. Never get stuck, I ask Angelica, and then we show the translation. So it's German phrase read out, then English is my translation, and then we show the English, and people can actually see both the German and then the English on the screen. So we're going through, and we think there's a afternoon to, let's have April, you think? You think that's April?
I guess.
Well, it's not you.
I guess so. It's not me.
No. And we say good afternoon to Mr. David Vaughan as well in the house. So good
Hi,
afternoon,
David.
sister. It's good to see you again. So Angelica's German Ask Angelica is every Friday, and we show the German phrase. I read it, then I translate it, then we show the actual translation. Sometimes there's a difference. And of course, right. So first one was David, not as David, and the second one. All right. Okay. Just a minute.
Right, repost that link.
Yeah, I'm going to. Actually, I've put a question in because we can't any longer post direct to Facebook. I don't know whether you've noticed, but the bottom line where you can, I'm going to resize my screen, but I can't see anywhere where I can post to Facebook, which we used to be able to do.
Really? I haven't noticed that. That's quite a change.
Yes, I'm going to repurpose that link, David. Right, let's, by the numbers, I've copied the link. I am editing the post. I am typing in joiners, and you should now, when it saves, be able to see the link up above. Okay, and I'll message it to David as well. So to continue with my tale of woe. So we have 10 sentences, and we have 10 translations, and we got stuck on number 2. So
right.
we had to talk about the other 8 without showing them on screen. Nobody could see them. It was a mystery. So I can break this. But
David, Stephen, I'm going to refresh my screen. My sound is clear, but I can see that my picture is frozen. So I'm going to quickly refresh.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. And I messaged the link to David. So David should have the link and he will post it. But yeah, I mentioned this to Safria and Daniel because it's Friday in Haifa. And I haven't had a reply yet. So I'm waiting to hear because the ability to post to Facebook has gone. And hello. It's Friday. It's David. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? You've been on holiday.
What's up? What'd you do with Bridgetti?
Bridgetti's gone to refresh and come back. So it's just me and you for the moment. You know, it's the way it is. But how are things? You've been away. I saw pictures of the beach.
Yes, pictures of the beach. It was a workcation, more work than cation.
Oh, right. Okay, so you were working.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. That was all for, so my mom goes to the beach for a few weeks each year, and she's no longer comfortable going by herself, so I took 1 week, my sister took another. I got week 1. Okay. And as long as there's internet, I can work. So that's what I do.
Well, that's the mobile office, isn't it? I mean, that's what we can do.
That is the mobile office lifestyle, yes. Would have much rather been fishing the entire time or doing something of that nature, but it is what it is.
Indeed it is. Right. Okay.
I missed that part of the conversation there.
Oh, David well, you want to explain again, David? And then we're up to date. Nope.
Oh, I was just explaining that Stephen was talking about that he saw pictures of the beach, and I was talking about it was a workation. My mother goes down to the coast for a few weeks each year, and she no longer feels comfortable doing it by herself. So I get a week. My sister gets a week. I got week 1, but I got to work.
Oh, great.
Because there was internet. I got to work, and there was internet. So no excuses.
Now, I put this title up earlier, or I wrote it earlier. It should actually now say Bridgetti, Stephen and David in conversation. So my apologies for that, David. I didn't know you were going to arrive. I'll edit it.
That's okay. I'm just here for a second. You said join us on camera, so I was like, why not?
Okay.
Why not? Because BeLive's done some updates this week.
They have, and I
including taking away the ability to comment back on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know where that's gone. What they have done though, because over 90% of broadcasts go out without a problem, but occasionally people will freeze. Yeah. Yep. So they've changed the Connect camera, and now you can go out at 480 as opposed to 540. If you're all right at 540, then you can drop to. There's no reason to change. Yep. But people have been having problems can drop to 480, and if you've got a Ninja PC and a Ninja broadband connection, then you can go up to 720. The marvelous thing there is. Yeah, sorry, Bridgetti.
And I like that you can test your microphone before you go live, and of course you can. You can select your camera. If you've got more than one camera, you can select the correct one. I used to absolutely hate having to fiddle trying to connect, because the connect button used to obscure the selection of your camera and your microphone. It used to drive me crazy. So that was one of my big asks. And of course, my wish has been granted, and I'm very pleased. And of course, and now you can save that setting, which is phenomenal.
It makes life a lot easier, because if you don't have to select your camera and your microphone when you come in, you can just press connect. It just saves time, and you know the settings are right. So that's obviously
absolutely
all right. And the other one that you missed, David, whilst you were workationing, is the other update last week, which was they changed the way the agendas work. And normally you'd cut and paste, create an agenda for a show, do the show, forget it. Yep. Right. Now you can create an agenda and save it. Now, what that means is I have got several agendas on here, and I can switch between my welcome pack, which has got welcome to the show and please share, and then I can go to today's show notes and bring up those. So you can switch between different agendas according to what you're actually doing. So I've got agendas for Blabbing for Britain, agendas for the show today, all of which are kept separately. So I can just go. Saves remembering, especially this one. This one I do like, because this one was a problem to put together, because it's the free BeLive.tv course and the free mentoring program and the BeLive in 5 YouTube channel are all on one list, so I can just flick into that at any time on any show. Right. And other announcements have been, I think the stability now has improved as well. Anyway, you were on Restream this afternoon, weren't you?
I was using Restream.io, playing with Ecamm Live. It's no longer Ecamm Live to Facebook. You can go live to anywhere you can get an RTMP key. And so I was doing what I speak against quite often, which is multicasting to both YouTube and Periscope. And Restream.io made that easier to do and free. Okay. And had they not sat there and said, well, if you want to go to Facebook Live, you got to do a custom RTMP, and that's going to be $15 a month, I would have done the Facebook Live as well.
Right.
But I'm not paying the $15. So anyway, a lot of fun. It's a new product. I know Bridgetti's in there and playing around with it as well.
Your thoughts, Bridgetti?
Getting excited?
Yes, I did. My first attempt was an absolute disaster. It was a silly mistake, but I figured it out. Definitely not.
There are some bugs that need to get worked out for sure. But it's fun. It's a neat, interesting concept. So.
Absolutely. But I must say, if you're a new entrant into live streaming, I would definitely at this point say do Be Live, because there's such a lot. There's a lot more documentation on Be Live. It's a lot more straightforward to get going. So I wouldn't recommend Ecamm to someone who's brand new to live streaming.
No, it's definitely a step in the direction of, gee, I would like to be able to do this, and here's an option that allows you to be able to do that. But if you're brand new to live streaming, period, I mean, I wouldn't even recommend Be Live. Honestly, I would recommend using the native apps on your phone and getting used to it and starting from there and going forward from that point. It's just. They're all steps, because the easiest way to do it is natively, and then you can go up from there. So, but yeah, Be Live is definitely, it gives you a lot of functionality, and you don't have to worry about having a powerhouse on your end and running out of bandwidth and stuff. So Be Live's a great option. Never knock it down. Not yet.
Absolutely.
Now Facebook Live. Facebook Live. They've been for the past few weeks. That's an unfortunate byproduct of Be Live, is that Be Live only goes live to Facebook.
Indeed,
definitely been having issues the past few weeks.
Yeah, and that's a knock on. I mean, the thing is that you're actually marketing the whole product, so Facebook Live is an integral part of that and going live to Facebook. And if Facebook has problems, people who are using Be Live don't care. What they're bothered about is Be Live are charging them for a service that isn't there. Do you get what I'm saying? Anyway, back to Facebook for a moment. Have you tried the native Facebook Live screen sharing or seen it?
I've seen it. I don't have it.
Bridgetti?
At least I may have it now. I don't know. I didn't have it. I think I've tried twice.
So how that works is that if you have an older Facebook page or older Facebook group, it will be active in those pages and groups. If you have a newly created Facebook page and group, it's not going to be available, because I've got about 20 of those. So the ones that are much, much older, they all have it active. The newer ones don't. So that seems to be how they have been rolling it out.
I don't have it anywhere, or at least, like I say, at least I didn't. And that may have changed overnight. I don't know, but it was a couple of days ago.
And then I saw.
Go ahead.
I saw workarounds that both Mari and Joel did with being able, because with Facebook screen sharing natively, there's one or the other. You can either broadcast on your camera or you can do screen sharing. You can't flip back and forward. Which is a bit of a pain. It's still a bit buggy. for someone wanting to do a webinar, for example, it's perfect. You can do you can share your screen, you can show your slides, your presentation or whatever, and you don't have to appear on camera. And it's great for people starting out who don't want to be on camera. That's also another plus there. But both Joel and Mari figured out a workaround so that they can go back and forth. Basically, you have to go live in another page or group that's public, and you'd be screen sharing that. And that's where you have the ability to show yourself on screen because you can't go back to your native camera.
Yep, that sounds like
Facebook.
Someone who is very. That sounds like something I would come up with. Like, hey, can I figure this out? Yes, you can reach around your back to scratch your elbow.
Yep.
Most people don't need that. So,
I mean,
nice little add-on. I have no idea why Facebook decided to add it, other than the fact that they're trying to remain relevant. But
yeah, I mean, it should be a toggle switch. It should be as simple as swipe to see your screen share, and swipe the other way to see your camera, and that's the way. I mean, it's not rocket science, and it doesn't take much coding.
And definitely, again, that's not the kind of thing a newbie to live streaming is going to want to do. It's too much hassle.
Right. Yeah. And they've got enough stuff trying to just get on, get somebody watching, get them engaged, figure all that type of stuff out. And that's why I say it's just, start native and just go live. Play with it that way. Do it on a regular, consistent basis for you to get past all the fears that you're going to come across and not worry about stuff. I did see on a news cycle and I don't even think this has been released to anybody. Zuckerberg and somebody else, and I can't remember who else it is, but they work for Facebook too. And they were doing avatars, like a VR type avatar broadcast live.
Right.
I saw that.
And yeah, so one of the areas that they chose to depict that they might be in was Puerto Rico. And they severely got bashed for the insensitivity of, and it was hugely insensitive. It was like, you are just, why would that even be? It's like, I'm right here. Yeah. Except all that you see right there is no longer there. And
yeah, true.
I did see that on the news cycle. I thought that was funny. I was like, yeah, there's a good way to promote your product.
Right. Before we leave and move on, Robert's just saying, David, if you check your Facebook, you did not. Robert didn't have the screen share facility this morning, but he does now. So it's obviously rolling out as we're broadcasting.
Well, Robert, that's because you and the rest of the team decided to pick a losing Kansas City Chiefs as the victor of the football game last night. Sorry, Raider Nation, way to go, car company.
Oh, we're talking football, not soccer.
We are talking football, proper football,
real football.
Hey guys, I want to tell you, I'm super stoked with Facebook.
Yep.
I'm right on the tip of Africa, and generally, whenever anything rolls out on the internet, we're kind of the last to hear about it or last to get about, to get anything. And I have consistently seen that I've stuff, so I'm pretty stoked about that, I must say.
Brilliant. It just went from the USA, flew over the whole of Europe, down Africa, and finished up. Yeah, it's yourselves in Australia and the USA. Obviously, the UK is out of favour at the moment. I can't for a moment think why that should be. Right. Okay. Now we do have a couple of questions that come from Belivers group, which we can all take and perhaps have a view on. But Bridgetti, we saw this question, which was, do you provide music for our broadcast like YouTube does? So in other words, do BeLive provide music to add to your broadcast?
Nope, we don't, and you should stay away from it unless you have royalty-free. Just don't do it. Don't dabble with it. Don't take a chance. You'll end up in Facebook jail. You'll get a notification. Sometimes you won't even get the notification. They'll just shut you down for a week. You know, why take that risk?
I agree with that. I mean, if on YouTube, they do provide royalty-free music, don't they? Do they not, David?
Yeah, they do.
They do. And as far as I know, you have the options to be able to download that music and you can actually play it. It is completely royalty-free, so you can play it wherever you want to play it. Now, I have a relationship with a company called Epidemic Sound, and I can get music that I can use in videos and there. And the whole purpose of that music is being able to use it in videos. It's all royalty-free, so there's options, but it's not free. So, yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, you even have to be careful now, though. I mean, if you're live streaming from your device and you're at an event and maybe somebody's got something playing over the background. I've seen people have their streams cut off because it picked up on that.
Yeah, these bots, they're everywhere. Checking things, watching over us, protecting us, obviously.
Making sure we're doing right.
Right.
That's a good one, Stephen. You know, we often see things as being punitive instead of being, if Facebook didn't protect us, we'd all get sued because we're using music that doesn't belong to us.
That's very true. Now, a common problem when we're doing live video is this one. Just let me find it.
Well, while Stephen's finding that,
yep, go.
Thank you, Facebook. But they're not doing it to protect us. They're doing it to protect themselves. They could give two craps about us, to be honest. They're just making sure that nobody goes back and says, well, you allowed this broadcast to go. We're going to come after you as well.
Right.
But, so you get to ride on the coattails of Facebook or Google or YouTube or Amazon or whoever when they do that type of stuff. So, yes, you should be thankful that they've got the money to be able to pay the bots and lawyers and whoever to sit there and say, no, can't do that.
Totally. And Robert is saying that Facebook is in talks with the big music companies about paying them so people could use music. The last offer they made was 800 million, which is not pocket money, is it? Right, okay, I found it now. Now, I'll read it out first, then put it up on screen. I download the finished live video, and when I've done that, the audio and video are out of sync when I play it on my desktop. Now, this is going to happen, isn't it? Because the signals travel separately, and sometimes do not recombine properly.
Yeah, so sometimes you have to strip the two and then recombine them again. It does happen. It can happen.
Yep. And those are good. I mean, that's good practice to do. I mean, if you were before live video and you were just doing video, to do a simple thing like have some kind of noise marker that you can visually go on. So, I mean, in video, when people are, it can be a little wonky when you're doing things live, but I mean, just a clap or something of that nature that's going to show, so that you can line those up and sync those up. That's not really an issue with BeLive. That's more an issue with, again, Facebook. So.
Totally. Now, if BeLive are listening or BeLive are watching the replay, video on demand would be, well, just wonderful, because then we wouldn't have these problems. And we'd be in HD.
But it's amazing how you will find that people will almost always blame BeLive first. They won't even consider the fact that it could be a Facebook thing.
Well, because they're not using they're blaming the product that they're using. So we're going to go after them first, and then when we get an answer back that we don't like, that doesn't immediately solve our problems and give us a hug and tell us that everything's going to be okay, then we're going to fuss about the fact that, it's still crap. So
right, but there was
all you got to do is back to Google Hangouts on Air going live to YouTube. The 60-second delay for when I say it to when you hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes find that if a video is out of sync, I can actually upload it to YouTube and it sort of syncs again. So, and repurposed.io is very good for doing that because you never actually see it on your hard drive. It goes straight from Facebook to YouTube. So there are ways around it. And what we've noticed recently, we changed the title of this show to Bridgetti and Stephen in Conversation, is that fewer people are having problems. We used to be live Q&A. We don't get clear questions anymore in the Belivers group, and say hello to Fernando. But something took place last Monday with 58 separate hosts hosting 58 separate shows over the course of 14 hours. And I think that should be in the Guinness Book of Records because that is an achievement. So my shout out goes to the BeLive team in Haifa and to Mr. Jeff Adams, who is quite probably the best video chat show host in the world. Did you manage to catch any? Well, Bridgetti, I know Bridgetti, you were actually in it, so I know you were there. David, did you catch any?
I did not.
Right, it was a wonderful.
I heard about it. I saw all the posts that were talking about it, but I did not. The BeLive birthday bash.
It was a feat of organisation.
There were some phenomenal speakers, presenters, with great gems for live streaming, for those who are live streaming and those who want to get into live streaming. There was a lot there to absorb.
There was all sorts of topics, takeaways. I've come up with this idea, David. I don't know what you think of it, but it's a 5-day video challenge.
Who did that?
Alina.
Oh,
She wasn't talking about live video challenges per se, but she was talking about the benefits of doing this short-term challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The difference between I've got the 31 days live challenge that's up and out there for people, and it does reference live. You don't have to do live. You can do whatever it is you want to do. You could do 31-day blog challenge. There's correlation between repetition and the word I'm thinking of is escaped my Friday brain.
Capability to do
anyway, doing something in repetition consistently, and then forming a habit is basically what it is. So it's when we have habits, we do things, we go through the motions without even thinking. It's kind of like breathing. That started day one. You don't even think about breathing anymore. Your body just automatically does what it does. Packing a kid's lunch, if it becomes a habit. I get up, I go to the gym 5 days a week, and 4 of those days I'm getting up at a little after 4 a.m. And, so I've got a routine that helps me get out the door at a certain time every day to be able to get there when it opens and all that type of stuff. And so it took repetition of doing that and figuring out all the little things. So there's correlation between doing something of that type of repetition, the length of time that you do the repetition. You can do something for 5 days and that's great, and it can get you pumped up and stuff. But then what happens if you fall off?
Yeah.
And after you do the 5 days, then you don't do anything for another 30. Well, then you've kind of eliminated the habit forming process. Now you got to start back all over again, basically in your head. So the longest correlation I've seen is 60 days. Mm-hmm. They say it takes 60 days to form a good habit or break a bad one.
Okay.
I don't know. So anyway, I chose 31 days.
31 days
was the number of days in a month.
So. Well, Robert's got Robert's doing a 31-day cookie challenge, a different cookie each day. There you are. It's a habit-forming thing, Robert. Watch it. You'll be eating cookies every day. All right.
You and the Cookie Monster, Robert.
Yeah. Indeed.
Stephen, I do want to mention something.
Should
I have noticed an increasing and an alarming amount of people who are live streaming while they are driving. So I want to put it out there. Please, people, stop doing that. Distracted driving kills. You cannot concentrate on doing a broadcast on Facebook or to YouTube or to wherever and drive your vehicle at the same time. It takes a second and you can either kill yourself or the people on the road with you. Please do not engage in distracted driving. You cannot live stream and drive at the same time.
I totally agree. We've got the Don't Stream and Drive campaign in the UK, run by Sergeant TCS, and there are campaigns in America, David.
I don't know if there are actual campaigns. There have been awareness campaigns, I guess, brought up because of certain. You know, if you're driving and streaming, what are you streaming? I mean, if I'm driving and streaming, and I'm streaming what I'm looking at as I'm driving down the road, you know, I can't pay attention to the phone or anything of that nature and all that type of stuff. But you know, the whole distracted driving thing goes beyond live streaming. I mean, I know people that really can't have other people in the car with them. Otherwise, they're going to be distracted because they're just chatting too much, looking at them.
Well, just this is a true story. My mother, bless her, I was driving, and when I'm driving, I cannot negotiate a roundabout properly if somebody's talking. Now, this is obviously a thing. And every time I went around a roundabout, mother was talking, and I kept taking wrong turns. So distracted driving with your mother talking to you, it's not to be recommended.
Okay, so for those of you who have never encountered what a roundabout is, typically a roundabout, so when you approach it, it's in a road. When you approach it, you there's this island of whatever that's typically in the middle. It could be flowers, it could be weeds, it could be a fountain, it could be anything.
All right.
The traffic flows. So, Stephen, how?
There are roundabouts.
You can only go one way around.
No.
You not make the right turn. I mean, I'm sure you ticked off a whole bunch of very polite British people.
You're assuming that a roundabout has is just 4 roads going into it, whereas in the UK a roundabout can have up to 10 roads going into it.
Well, and you all need an intersection and a couple of bridges and some mountains.
We don't build bridges, apart from the ones that Mr. Telford made. That you got 4 lanes of traffic going around a roundabout, and if you get in the wrong lane, you can't get off at the right exit. So it's not just a 4 road into one roundabout thing. So that's my defence. I next time we're on air together, I shall bring you a picture of a roundabout, and then you'll see what I'm talking about.
Just please don't live stream it, because
no, I won't live stream it. I promise.
Well, I must tell you something funny. When my kids were at school still, their school was surrounded by these roundabouts, and my husband used to continuously take the wrong exit, and or miss the exit and missed it, and he says, "No, I didn't. I just like going round and round."
I love going round roundabouts twice. I mean, it has to be said, I'm well known for that. But the bridges and intersections, David, that's the But I mean, we've got so many roundabouts in the UK; it would cost us a fortune.
Yes, and I have seen some very interesting roundabouts or intersections. It's certainly in India I mean, there are just some areas of the country. There's no way, one, would I try to attempt to drive, and two, I really wouldn't even want to be near the actual street. I mean, some of these places are just nuts with traffic, and the people just go right along. And you know why?
That's true.
Because it's a habit. They've wrecked enough times. They figured out how not to wreck.
They've been doing it for too long. I mean, one of the driving wise, one of the most nerve-wracking roads is the Périphérique around Paris, and that is crazy because you've got to be doing 80 miles an hour to get on there and to get off. There's an art to it, and they don't. I've got to be careful here because we might have French people watching. They're not too quick on repairing the roads. And the roads can be rutted, and you can have holes. So you've got to be very careful to actually stay. It's like dodgems, really. Yeah. But driving.
I thought we only got those in South Africa.
Well, it's weekend here, David. You've got a few. It's weekend because I'm in the UK and Bridgetti's in Cape Town. So what we normally do is we don't go for the hour. We want to go and have a break. So David,
that's fine.
David, thank you for joining us today. And it'd be good to get together soon. That was not a hint, by the way, but it's up to you. Right, okay. To everybody who's been watching us today, thank you. We enjoy doing this on a Friday before we break up for the weekend. And it's our way of relaxing and solving a few problems, hopefully. And take care. And it's goodbye from Wiltshire in England and from David in North Carolina. And Bridgetti, if you want to give the final words and a tip for the weekend or your thoughts for the weekend.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. It's goodbye from me, Bridgetti Lim Banda in Cape Town and South Africa. Have a safe weekend. Don't live stream and drive at the same time. And remember, if you're wanting to use BeLive for the first time, you don't have to do it by yourself. We've got a free Udemy course. Take the course. It was designed by Stephen and Tina. Absolutely free, and we will hold your hand as you go live the first time. So welcome to try BeLive and make use of the BeLive in 5 free course.
Bye, everybody. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
And we're on a countdown. David's gone already.